Welcome to Back Issues. I'm Sal.
And I'm Ben.
Happy 4th of July. Of course, this 4th of July, we are celebrating that Star-Spangled Avenger, Ant-Man.
What?
They're putting Ant-Man out on the 4th of July?
Why not? Something's got to come out on the 4th of July. Why not Ant-Man?
I guess what's more American than Ant-Man? A thief who worked his way into a job thieving things.
Well, that's the... Yeah, I guess that... Yeah, the Scott Lang Ant-Man. I guess that's true. We can make that work somehow.
Why is the book so tiny?
Well, because it's for Ant-Man.
What is this? A book for ants? This book has to be at least twice as big.
It is actually, like, miniatured.
That actually would be the right size, too.
Yeah. Ironically, it's called Small-Minded. Because it's a small book. No, it's actually... Marvel used to do these things where they would, like, scale down the books to make them, like, cheaper and easier to grab and sell. Kind of like competing with the manga market a little bit.
Well, and also you can fit a comic into this thing and it's not, like, floppier.
Yes, that's true. It is much firmer and
sturdier.
sturdier.
To read in bed.
Yeah, that's true. Or
under the covers
secret.
with a flashlight.
Yeah, which is true, but we got this one from a fan, and I've been meaning to do this for a while, because it's been 2 years, we might as well check back in with ComicPop's Resident Ant-Man, a.k.a. Eric O'Grady, the worst human being on the planet. Remember when we did Ant-Man? The Irredeemable Ant-Man? Yeah, that's ours. We have secured... We cover when Ant-Man comes out, and every other comic book YouTube channel goes, "We're going Ant-Man! Hey, how about the time that Scott Lang rode Hawkeye's arrow? How about the time when Hank Pym savagely beat his wife? Or the other 6 times that he did something completely and utterly unforgivable?" No, let's do something like this, where it's about a character that is not going to be in any movies and has no chance of coming back to life because he's dead in the comics.
What? He has the title Ant-Man.
Yes, but he's technically called Ant-Man, and so that search algorithm's mine! So yeah, when we last left our hero... Ant-Man... By the way, Ant-Man, or rather the Irredeemable Ant-Man, is of course written by Robert Kirkman. And this book is of course drawn by Phil Hester, along with some additional work by Cory Walker. When we last left Eric O'Grady, aka Ant-Man, he was... hidden in Carol Danvers' purse, and off to do the one thing that he always does when he's Ant-Man, and that's watch a woman shower. Because that's his M.O.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, he's gonna be a creep.
He's a total creep. At the very least, Kirkman does not have him masturbating while watching her in the shower.
Oh. Well, you don't see it.
You don't. You only see it, it's cropped. But he's wearing the Ant-Man suit. It's not like there's like a...
So it'd be tough to...
Yeah. Plus, it's also a comic book published by Marvel, and it's like, let's not do that, even though it's not approved by the Comics Code.
I do have to ask a question.
Well, why don't you?
If he takes off the suit when he's that small...
Right.
What happens?
Does he immediately, like, reinflate, or...?
He ought to, but no, the suit just facilitates his ability to shrink, because the suit is what retains the Pym particles.
Right.
But he's exposed the Pym particles. I think he would... Eventually the particles would wear off, and then he would rebegin.
So just like you can make something like a different object, like smaller or bigger, like the movie did.
Yes.
If he took the suit off, he'd be fine.
Yes, that's
true. He could masturbate in the purse.
Yeah, he could. True. Fair enough. He'd have to put the suit back on. And he's also an idiot, so he doesn't know how long it would be. Anyway, so he is...
Time moves slower when you're tiny, so that shower's gonna last a while.
I don't think that's how that works.
Not a thing.
So, this takes place in Marvel chronology, where Carol Danvers is Ms. Marvel.
Okay. And
she is technically kind of sort of leading the Mighty Avengers during the superhuman registration bullshit.
Okay.
So, we're smack dab post-Civil War, pre-Secret Invasion.
Okay.
So it's between the time between Civil War and World War Hulk.
But we don't have any scrolls, or we're not aware of any.
We're not aware of any. They don't factor into the story.
Okay.
And so this is where they actually play with the cover that I really enjoy, which is it's the cover of Mighty Avengers #1, but then they put a magnifying glass over it, and Eric was there the entire time. So we're going to fold Eric into the continuity of comics you've already read or are reading at the time of this book.
Right. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, which I like. So Eric... is in Carol's purse. She's bringing him home, and he checks out her identification card, her SHIELD ident card, and he's like, Carol Danvers, Ms. Marvel, I've never heard of you. And it's like, yeah, No, no one's heard of you.
Yeah, no.
I mean, comic book fans have, and they might, if they know Carol Danvers is, then they know the, like, horrible history she's gone through. But if you're just a casual reader at this point, you're like, Ms. Marvel, huh? Didn't she have a miniseries that Brian Reed wrote? Like, yes. I didn't know that either, because I'm a casual reader.
Right.
So I didn't read it, and that's why it was unceremoniously canceled. But, you know, that was before Marvel was like, we need a Wonder Woman. Let's make Carol the Wonder Woman. Make her Captain Marvel. Moving on.
Oh, okay. So, like, when she was Ms. Marvel, it was just, like, small time?
Pretty much. Although, after House of M, she desperately wanted, because in House of M, everybody got what they wanted, and what she wanted was to become the Superman of the Marvel Universe.
Oh.
And so when she shakes out of it and comes back to reality, she's like, I kind of still want that.
You understand? Right. I achieved my dream, and it was great.
Yes!
Yeah.
So she's like, I want to do
why
that.
Why couldn't I just do it?
Right.
Yeah.
And so she pushes it, and she, like, hires an agent. And
what?
Yeah, like she hires like an agent.
Hey, you got to get that branding out, man.
Boom.
You know that giant S in the
I
shield?
know.
I need that.
That is
not Superman never did that.
Of course not. He was just the best.
Yeah.
You have to be the best, and that's the lesson she has to go through.
Unless it's that new one where he had the cropped hair and he was riding the motorcycle across America.
Oh yeah,
because then he
true.
bought a Superman shirt.
Technically,
like,
yes.
Clearly, someone's marketing that crap.
Oh yeah, no. I imagine that if Superman were living today, he'd be in the public domain, and so like anyone could make Superman shirts, because Superman would not secure the branding rights.
Right.
Although that being said, someone probably would.
Someone would, yeah.
This is just like Mystery Men and the guy who has all the company logos, just
Yes.
like a NASCAR on him.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
So Eric's in her purse, he's checking out her identity card, and he's like, Carol Danvers, Ms. Marvel. I don't know who that is, but you're pretty, so let's go. So she dumps out her purse on her table, and he's like, okay, she's a superhero, she's gotta have an awesome, cool secret lair. And they get to this really crappy apartment with a bunch of boxes she clearly just moved in.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, this sucks.
Or she's been there for years, and she's just like, I'll just live out of these.
She might as well. Like, that's how her character's treated at this point. But then he goes, oh, what do I hear? The creaking of a shower. So he leaps into action.
Uh-huh.
And then climbs on top of the shower head and just watches her.
And just takes it in.
And,
my God.
and he even says...
This is fucking amazing. Just panel after panel of him just staring.
Just staring. And he goes, you think this would get old after a while, but it really doesn't. And he says, well, I gotta tell you something, Carol Danvers, Ms. Marvel. I never heard of you before today, but you were officially my favorite superhero. That being said, horribly creepy.
Yep.
Really, really, really not okay.
Incredibly!
Especially when you consider Carol Danvers' history and how, like, she was the unwilling participant in the impregnation and subsequent birthing of her boyfriend. Like, she banged an alien who impregnated her, and then she immediately came to term, like, within a couple of days. And the Avengers were like, oh boy, good for you! And she's like, this is terrifying. Then she gives birth, and it's her boyfriend. He's like, I needed to be rebirthed! And you were the perfect vessel! And he, like, used his alien powers to make her think she was in love with him, and, like...
Oh!
Yeah. And then she just quits the Avengers and goes to the X-Men. She's like, you guys are less messed up than the Avengers.
And you're dealing with all of this
Wow.
hate across America.
Yeah.
The world.
Well, and also your own ridiculous internal drama.
That certainly doesn't make it, like, any better, but holy crap, this is just bad enough as it is.
Right, as
on its
is,
own.
if you have the ability to shrink and you choose to use your great power to watch women shower, you're a creep. And irredeemable. So, Carol gets called out by a fellow S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. And they're like, hey, are you in here? She's like, I'm taking a shower! And she's really, really not cool with people just barging into her house. So clearly, this is not part of, like, her fetish or anything. So she would be beside her. She'd be back to therapy if she knew that O'Grady was in here. So he finds out that he's not in an apartment. He's in her quarters on a miniature S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, which is the last place he wants to be.
Right.
Because Eric O'Grady was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who was working, like, monitor duty, who got embroiled in some hijinks with his best friend and their mutual friend. His best friend stole the Ant-Man suit and died in it. Eric stole the suit from him, put it on, and escaped. And their mutual friend, who hates him, went into a hilarious cat and mouse search. And ultimately, O'Grady wound up getting that dude's face horribly scarred. And so he hates Eric with a passion and just wants him dead. And so he's, like, using all his S.H.I.E.L.D. resources to find and catch him. So,
you know what you never see? Someone who, like, gets injured in a way because they have a vendetta against somebody.
Yeah.
And then realizing, like, you know what? I did this to myself.
Right.
Just getting over it and moving on with their lives.
Right.
You
I
don't
went
see
to
that.
therapy. I talked to some people. You know what? I really just have to move forward.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a indicative of my own mistakes as well.
Right.
It's both.
I
It's
have
as
to
much.
I have to own my part. in
Right.
this.
If I do ever find him, all I want is for him to apologize. That's like that would give me closure.
It's like Lex Luthor just being like, Superman, we've had a lot of time, and
you,
we've done a lot of things, and you did this, but like, you know what? It's all right.
yeah, it's cool, man.
Hey,
Yeah, of course
I
it
never
is.
have to pay for a haircut.
It was an
Right.
accident.
That'd be amazing if Superman, if that really bothered Superman. It's like, I forgive you. Superman's like, what? You forgive me? I don't. You're a supervillain. I'm supposed to forgive you. He's like, but I don't need it.
All I did was cause you to go bald by accident.
forgive
You killed countless
Forgive you,
people.
Superman.
Don't do this, man.
I forgive you, Superman.
No,
I forgive
not you.
That'd be amazing, just to flip the script on those two. Anyway, so O'Grady decides, I don't need to be on a SHIELD helicarrier. I need to get out of
Get
here.
the hell out of here.
So he jumps back into Carol's purse, and she suits up as Ms. Marvel, and he winds up alongside the mighty Avengers as they sweep into action.
Wait, if he's in her purse, why is he with her then?
Well, she changed her clothes, and he, of course, watched her change her clothes, and then he jumped onto her outfit to escape the helicarrier. 'Cause he
Oh,
wanted to be
okay.
there. So,
So now he's just chilling on her somewhere.
yeah.
Wait, the Sentry's there?
Oh, yeah. Sentry's a member of the Mighty Avengers.
Oh
So,
my god.
it's Iron Man, Black Widow, the Sentry, Wonder Man, the God of War, Ares himself, and, of course, Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp.
So she should know he's there.
Yeah, she should, but he's hanging on to her ridiculous, like, tassel. And, of course, watching her fine ass
Yeah.
as they descend. And so they engage a bad guy.
Okay.
Doesn't matter who it is.
Was that
and
from another book?
I wasn't really reading Mighty Avengers at the time,
so
but
I'm not sure.
their adventure is so non-essential to the story that it's
Right.
probably just an additional thing.
I
Right.
see.
Like, it can't be that the Mighty Avengers only got involved in the, like, 3 things that Bendis wrote for them
Right.
before they were subsequently, like, shuffled loose of their team.
Sure.
So, anyway, so Eric immediately just bails. He takes that opportunity to just leave.
Okay.
And when he does, he bumps into the Black Fox. The Black Fox is a funny character from, like, old Spider-Man comics.
Okay.
He's a geriatric burglar.
Right.
He's a British old burglar.
He's British too?
Yes.
Aw.
And the Black Fox, that's what he does. He burgles,
Burgles. Yeah.
and then leaves. And he also uses his age to make Spider-Man feel bad for him and then try and let him go.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
I was just stealing all these jewels to give to my granddaughter.
Yeah, well, he doesn't even bother. He's just like, I'll die in prison. And Spider-Man's like, oh no, Uncle Ben. So, by
Yeah,
the way,
because Uncle Ben died in prison.
no, I'm just saying, it's an old man.
You're an old person.
But O'Grady plans, he's like, this is great. This place is in ruins. I'll loot this area and then have some money for myself. And then he bumps into the Black Fox, who's already doing that.
Right.
So then he appears before Black Fox, who thinks he's Spider-Man.
But he's tiny.
No, he
Oh,
rebiggens.
he rebegins. Okay.
Well, he's mostly red. He's got giant eyes. I'd buy that.
Yeah.
Kind of. He's red. Bug eyes.
Right?
You mean the exact same thing I just said.
Yeah.
Right.
I hear you say red.
So he shrinks back down and then he just punches this old man in the groin and then
Nice.
takes his jewels. He punches him in the jewels and
There
then
you
he
go.
steals them and then he bails.
He punches him in the stones and then takes his precious stones.
That's right. That's basically what I just said.
Is it?
So as he's about to escape with Black Fox's backpack, he hears the cries of someone underneath this rubble.
Ah.
And so he uses his shrinking powers to check it out.
Yeah.
And when he does, he finds a hurt little girl. And so he uses his powers to help her.
Okay.
And he rescues her from the rubble, and he is met by Damage Control. Damage Control, for those of you who are not in the know, is a team of contractors who clean up and repair buildings in New York after superhero attacks or battles.
Right.
And they are essential to Iron Man's ability to profit over the Civil War, and there's like a Damage Control tie-in and stuff.
Ah.
But they also had a great big long mini-series from Dwayne McDuffie, so check that out as well.
Are you saying that Iron Man has a scheme wherein he profits from the damage caused by fighting
Superheroes and supervillains? Yeah.
Hey,
wow.
someone's got to get that contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not the person who's causing the damage shouldn't get it. They have incentive to cause more damage.
No, I don't
to
damage.
make more money.
I don't damage the city. I damage the villain.
Right. Well, Iron Man also knows that damage is inevitable, so I might as well make a penny.
Well, but if he's making money off it, maybe he also might, cause a villain to come to the city. Or instead of fighting the villain outside the city, he'll just fight it in the city
and
to generate more income for himself.
That's a reason for them to impose sanctions on Tony Stark and Stark Industries. However, we know that Tony Stark is an altruist who is just simply trying to make more money for him to be a better superhero.
Nah, this was definitely one of the drunk Tony decisions.
He hasn't been drunk in a long time.
Yeah, but...
He's literally been drunk since the 80s.
Friggin' Ant-Man hasn't hit his wife in a long time, but he can't live that down.
No, he can't. And neither should Iron Man. So, that's not true. He reveals that he saves this little girl, and Damage Control's like, wow, cool! And then Black Fox realizes that his backpack is taken, and he's like, excuse me, you have my backpack? And he's like, excuse me, Grandpa, you're the looter who's dressed like a burglar. I'm the superhero who just saved a little girl. So why don't you take a hike? And so he escapes without his money, and Damage Control's like, so you have the power to shrink and give you extraordinary abilities of strength and whatnot? Like, you want a job? And he's like, maybe I do.
him saying no.
He was like, maybe, and then he leaves.
To clean shit up? Nah.
Well, he also is looking to hide from his aggressors, and he's also looking to kind of make use of this suit. He's not going to get rid of it.
Right.
So
might as well make some money, I guess.
Exactly.
I think he just did by stealing jewels.
Yeah, but then he has to break the law.
So he takes the jewels to a
fence.
Yeah. A
pawn shop.
A pawn shop.
Yeah.
And
okay.
He's like, and he's trying to give this really bullshit excuse. He's like, so my grandma left me these jewels. He goes, are these stolen? And he's like, yes. He's like, that's fine. Just okay. I just need to know.
I just need to know so I can give you the right price.
Yeah, you came to the right place. Now come on to the back where I do my illegal dealings.
Right.
And he says, okay, these are real jewels. They work out. I can give you $5,000 for the pile of jewels.
What?
And he's like, well, that sounds... And he's like, oh, it doesn't sound good enough. I'll make you $10,000. Like, sold.
Huh. I was gonna say fine. But I'm really glad I didn't.
Well, because we know that the dealer is undervaluing the jewels.
Yeah, they're probably worth like 500,000 or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was why the Black Fox is so pissed. So he takes his money, puts it into the backpack he stole, and then leaves. Then he's like, before he goes, hey, you're into illegal shit. Do you make fake IDs? And he's like, oh yeah, I do. So he makes a fake ID for Eric and makes him... Oh God. Is it... Yeah. Derek. So Eric O'Grady becomes Derek Sullivan.
I'm really used to hearing the Eric part of my name.
Right.
So, if someone says Derek, I'm going to turn around.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't make a transition from Eric to Bob. That's not going to work for me.
Is he... I have a sandwich for Bob. Bob? We've been calling 5 minutes for Bob.
Where the hell is my sandwich?
Oh, shit. Right up.
Is he... Do they think he's dead? Or is he a criminal on the run from shit? Why does he need to change his name?
Because he is not dead. No one thinks he's dead. They're looking for Eric O'Grady.
But is it everyone's looking for him or just that one guy?
Just that
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Fucked up?
It's technically S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's mostly mainlined by that guy who knows him and who's horribly scarred by him.
But he is wanted.
Chris. No, not Chris. Chris is the other guy. Yeah, but he is wanted. He's a wanted man.
Okay.
So
And he was employed by S.H.I.E.L.D. You think they'd easily find him?
You'd think, but they're very busy. They just dealt with the Civil War.
Right.
Now there's multiple Avengers teams. It's a mess.
Yeah.
So Eric goes to Damage Control.
I'm sorry, who?
I'm sorry, Derek.
Okay.
And while he's there, he bumps into this young lady who is cute, and so he talks her up immediately. And
hey, where's your purse?
Right. I just need to know.
Just wondering.
Anyway, bye.
Shrink.
Do you leave your purse open, or do you zipper it shut? Just curious.
It's a weird icebreaker you got there, Derek.
And where is it?
So,
do you shower every day?
Right.
Are you gonna shower soon? soon, or
should I, like,
not?
wait?
I'm just wondering,
Wait
like,
for what?
You're probably working a lot, and
Yeah.
it's a busy day of Damage Control. I'm assuming you shower at night before you go to bed, because, like, you don't want to get the grime on the streets. And,
Like me.
Yeah.
We see we have a lot in common.
All right.
Anyway, so she was on the team, by the way, the damage control team on the scene. So
Yeah,
he's like,
I
hey,
remember
we
that.
met. And she's like, yeah, so what's your superhero name again? He's like, oh, yes, my superhero name. It's the Slaying Mantis. She goes, so you're a bad guy?
Yeah, right?
And he's like, no, I slay bad guys. I'm an anti-hero. And she's like, shouldn't you be green? And he's like, no. She's like, right on. And where'd you get the suit again? Oh, I made it. Oh, so you're a super genius? Yes.
Of course.
He's just a huge
That's
liar.
just gonna fall apart very quickly.
He's George Costanza. So he says, like, I'd love to tell you more about it over a cup of coffee, perhaps. And she's like, all right, you're on. You're interesting.
Wow, okay.
So he's like, okay, I've got a date. Woohoo. So then he meets her for coffee an hour later, and he just fills the conversation with lies.
Of course.
And so they're talking back and forth, and she's talking about, like, how she has these powers. They're very, like, minuscule in comparison.
What are they? She can lift stuff? Or...
No, I think her, like, her code name is Visioneer, and she can kind of, like, she's an empath.
Oh.
She can feel your thoughts. She doesn't see them, but she can feel them.
How is that helpful for damage control?
She can feel when someone is in peril.
Yeah, like
to,
if they're
find
trapped.
people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're talking, and while they're talking, she is really insistent on how crappy this waiter is. Because she's like, we've been here the whole time, I've had one cup of coffee. Where the hell are my other refills? And he's like, I don't know. Anyway, so he's like, making up more lies. And she's like, anyway, you know, our date's over, let's wrap up. And he's like, okay, well, I'll pay for it. She goes, no, I should pay for my half. And they have this argument. And he's like, no, like, I'm trying to make good.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, she has a crappy job, our waitress.
Okay.
And maybe she's overworked, who knows? But I'm trying to be better. So then he leaves her a tip, and while he turns, she takes the tip and puts it in her pocket.
What?
Which he sees and is like, hey, so about that tip I left? And she's like, oh, don't even get me started, okay? I have a problem with subpar service, and I have a moral obligation to teach them a lesson about whether or not, you know, they should be rewarded for poor service. And he's like, she's like, and if you want to report me, you know, you've got a lot of lies that I could read or complete. And he's like, no, I just want to know when I can see you again.
It sounds like you watched Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
So he's like, you're perfect for me, because, like, you're a bad person.
You're a bad person!
I'm a bad person.
Yes!
We could be bad people
Everything
together.
I said in this conversation was a lie!
And
Slap!
yeah, well, she's like, yeah, I know.
Okay, too far.
No, she's totally on board.
Yeah.
She's like, she's a bad person. And so,
Also, she's an empath. Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew you were lying.
yeah. So, like, 2 weeks later, Eric gets himself an apartment, and they're dating.
Okay.
And,
This is weird.
This is very
oh, you
weird.
think this is weird? So, then they start, like, making out on his new, I've got my couch,
Right.
and we got my TV, that's all I need, I'm ready to go.
Right.
So they start to make out when there's a huge explosion outside, and she's like, shouldn't you suit up, superhero? And he's like, right, because I'm a superhero. The Slaying Mantis. So then he suits up as Ant-Man and springs into action.
The answer should be no. He works for damage control now.
Yeah, he
Well,
works
but
for
he's
damage
also
control,
a hero,
and he's a
right?
hero. This is danger. He's got to, you know, it's calling. So he springs into action. He says, make way for the Slaying Mantis!
Jesus.
And She-Hulk is fighting Mr. Hyde, and she's like, oh, great, 2 supervillains. He's like, no, I'm a superhero. And she's like, then why do you call yourself the Slaying Mantis? So he springs into action, and they start
fight.
fighting, and Mr. Hyde, like, punches him really hard, and he's like, that was scary as shit. I'm getting out of here. So he lets himself get punched again, and then he pretends to be knocked out. And then he looks around, and he sees the fight starting to move away, and then he leaves. Then he goes home, and she's like, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, don't worry, me and She-Hulk stopped Mr. Hyde. Anyway, I'm going to bed. So then he goes to bed, she goes back to her place, and while he's sleeping, the Black Fox breaks into his apartment.
Oh, shit.
And he has a gun to his head, and he's like, I want my jewels back, man. And he's like,
boy.
okay, so I fenced them. And I spent all the money, so there's no way you can win here.
You spent all the money?
Yeah,
That
he's
was
like-
$1 million!
Yeah, he's like, it's okay. I've got like $5,000, but I have a state-paying job now, and I can probably pay you back in installments. Like, he's an idiot,
Yeah.
too. And he goes, you got $10,000? Those jewels are worth over $100,000, you asshole! What's wrong with you? And he's like, well, what'd you expect me to do, man? It's free jewels. He's like, okay, you need to give me at least one reason not to kill you. And he's like, okay.
I know where the jewels
I know where the jewels went. I'll get them back. And he's like, okay. So he goes back as Ant-Man.
Okay.
So he's tiny. He goes into the pawn broker's office, and he sits on his shoulder and he yells in his ear. He says, "Hey, dirtbag, don't you move! I'm from S.H.I.E.L.D. We've got the whole place surrounded and bugged. I'm using a micro-transmitter to tell you what's going on. We need those jewels. They were very important to an operation we were doing." He's like, "Oh, I sold those jewels." He goes, "Well, how much did you make from the jewels?" He's like, "Oh, I made $150,000. And he's like, "Okay, well then take the money and put it into a bag and leave it outside." And the guy's like, "Okay, I'm doing it right now." He's like, "All right." And then, he leaves the money, and then he just picks up the money, and the guy goes back inside, and he hands it to the black fox. He goes, "Okay, I made an extra $50,000 from what you were expecting, and so I'm thinking I'm going to keep 20% as a finder's fee." And the black fox like, "You can get 10%. And he's like, "Fair enough."
Hey, it's still more than I made off the jewels the first time.
That's right. And he's like, "I'll tell you what, I'll take 10% and a ride home." The guy's like, the Black Fox like, "Fine." So then he drives him home, and then we get back to the same shot as last time where Eric's lying in bed, and this time his girlfriend is standing over him, but he thinks it's the Black Fox. He goes, "Oh, no, not again." And she goes, "Are you expecting visitors?" And he's like, "No." She opens up her trench coat. She's wearing some sexy lingerie.
Yeah.
And he's like, "How did you get in here? I have the door locked." She goes, "Oh, I broke in." He's like, "I think I'm falling in love with you."
This is bizarre.
Yeah, so we're watching this
weird.
this relationship blossom. So what
Between
follows,
two very bad people?
Yes. Yeah. Are they really? I mean, he's a really bad person.
I'm not sure about her.
She's not a great person.
But she stole a tip off of a table.
Oh, I know.
That
She's a
sucks.
shitty person.
Yeah.
So we're cutting to a little bit of time has passed, and Damage Control is involved in a fight with Dragon Man. And so,
Dragon Man.
Yeah, Dragon
Who's
Man.
Dragon Man?
He's an old school Fantastic Four villain.
Okay.
Is his name Trapdoor?
He's a Dragon Man. All you kids will remember that reference. Anyway, so the Slaying Mantis and
Don't call him that.
so Derek and his girlfriend are fighting Dragon Man along with their coworker who has super strength. And
why is Damage Control fighting like a random shitty bad guy?
do
they do that sometimes?
Sometimes they do.
Oh.
Well, because people on Damage Control usually have extraordinary powers, so they will occasionally get involved in a superhero fight.
Here's the thing: we clean up, but maybe if we can stop the things from getting messed up, then I'm going to get a bonus this month.
Right. I mean, I don't know what the financial incentive is, but Damage Control, if they're going to be at ground zero of a superhero fight, will probably get involved in some kind of fight themselves.
Okay.
So their friend is Monstro, and he's like an older dude, but he's like a classic superhero looking dude. Chiseled jaw,
big and strong.
And he's big and strong. He's basically Mr. Incredible, but older. And so Monstro kicks the crap out of Dragon Man, and we basically just learn that Monstro's cool. He's just a cool guy who's really nice to Derek and his girlfriend.
I mean, he's named after the whale in Pinocchio. How is he
know.
not cool?
Now, I wish it were in some way connected, where he swallows you whole or something. But no. Anyway,
I just watched that movie a lot when I was a kid, and it terrified me.
Me
and
too.
Then I figured I'd become something terrifying.
Yeah, no, I did watch a lot of Pinocchio, so I was right there with you. But by the way, every time the Damage Control gets involved and they clean up, and then S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up to arrest something or someone, Derek leaves immediately.
Right.
And his girlfriend is
over there.
Yeah, she's like, "All right, so what's going on?
You're scared of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. Are you a criminal?" And he's like, "No."
What do you think?
Right. What do you think? What would you not want to hear? So
Is it
what
hot
will
if
make
I
you
am?
Right.
What will make you still have sex with me later?
Yeah. Probably anything. So he basically says, and this isn't wrong, that an ex-girlfriend is in S.H.I.E.L.D. And that he wants to avoid her because she's part of the cleanup crew. She's not, and in fact, it was his best friend, who's now dead's girlfriend, who he banged and then left.
Right.
So yeah, but she's not looking for him. She's just there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's not there.
It's
now.
partially true.
Yeah. Everything that Eric O'Grady says is either a half truth or no truth at all. But he does use it. So Eric comes home, and the Black Fox is in his apartment,
Again?
Yeah, well, it's been weeks,
They're like
right?
buds now. They just hang out.
So the Black Fox is like, you know why I'm here. And they immediately start playing Wii. The Black Fox is Eric O'Grady's secret best friend.
Right.
And they play Wii Sports together.
Weird.
Yeah. By the way, if you want to date the book, boom.
Yeah, it's within a year or two of when we came out.
Yep.
This started off being a book where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. I am really on board now. Oh man, his face is really messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Okay, no, you don't forget that and like forgive.
No.
This
can't
is okay.
forgive that.
This isn't bald?
That's not.
That's 1,000 times worse than bald.
I
Bald
agree.
people can be distinguished.
This
guy's screwed. For
That's
life.
I'm going to kill you and then I'm going to kill myself.
The only reason I haven't killed myself is because I have to kill you first.
Right. That's very true. He doesn't want to kill himself. He just wants to
Right.
kill Eric. That's Carson, and he is involved in the task force looking to bring back Eric O'Grady. And more importantly, the experimental Hank Pym designed Ant-Man suit.
Right, they want that suit.
So Iron Man's on the helicarrier, calls in Carson. He's like, so how's it going?
Yeah, you found him yet?
And he's like, I really need that suit. It's one of a kind. Pym took a long time to build it. It will take him an even longer time to build another one.
I don't know if you know this, but he's old. We may not get it.
He's not that old. No, in the movies he's old. In the comics, he's around the same age as Tony. So Carson is like immediately refocused. He's like, the new director of S.H.I.E.L.D., Tony Stark, is telling me I gotta do this. I gotta get involved. Plus, like, I will bring him to justice. I promise you. Mm-hmm. So he bumps into Veronica King, who is Eric's their mutual dead friend's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, so have you bumped into Eric O'Grady? We found him? And he's like, no, why? And she's like, no reason. And she indicates that, like, she's pregnant.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So, it turns out that Eric wasn't the only one who probably wanted to slip away from S.H.I.E.L.D. during the Dragon Man fight. Monstro is leaving Damage Control, and he bumps into Eric, or Derek as he's known, and he's like, what's going on, man? And he's like, I can't work for Damage Control anymore, because apparently I have a history, like I have a past where I was a bad guy, and I'm not allowed to do this kind of work. And S.H.I.E.L.D. found out about it, and blah, blah, blah. So, like, I'm screwed.
You mean I can't reform?
Yeah.
No. One strike and you're out. That's
so Eric's
S.H.I.E.L.D.
like,
policy.
Yeah, so Eric's like, that sucks,
But
man.
that strike was like 30 years ago, before I worked for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
I don't care.
I don't give a shit.
You're out.
Get out. New regime. So he goes, that sucks. Come with me. So they go to the pawnbroker, the same guy who made the fake ID. He goes, my buddy here needs a fake ID. And he says, like, dude, you got a lot of balls coming back here because you got me pinched by S.H.I.E.L.D. and I lost like $150,000. And he's like, yeah, well, here's the thing. My friend here has superpowers. He's going to kill you unless you give me that fake ID. So he makes the fake ID and he's like, this is pretty good. Listen, Derek, I don't care who you were when you clearly knew how to make fake IDs.
Right.
But we're cool. You and me.
Okay.
And so they go with their fake IDs to S.H.I.E.L.D. to register because the big problem is the Superhuman Registration Act is now in place and you need to join the initiative.
Okay.
And so every superhero anyone with powers has to register. And Monstro is worried that if he registers, the past will come back to haunt him and he'll lose his job.
Figure out who he is.
So,
I mean, pictures, DNA samples, fingerprints,
Yeah.
anything.
Mm-hmm.
It should
So
be pretty easy.
they go to get their IDs and they're like, hey, you need to get your superhero costumes if you have one. And Eric's girlfriend's like, where's your superhero costume? He's like, oh, right, hang on, let me go get it. And he like slips the ID photographer like $50.
Uh-huh.
And then he goes and grabs a Hydra mask and a hard hat.
Well, at least he's green now.
Yeah, and registers as the Slaying Mantis. So now, according to the S.H.I.E.L.D. file, Derek Sullivan is the Slaying Mantis, a member of S.H.I.E.L.D.
What are his powers?
Oh, he's super strong and he can jump.
Okay.
Eric and his girlfriend go to her place for the first time ever. She's like, what the hell was up with that, like, ID thing? What's wrong with you? He's like, oh,
weird.
yeah, nah.
Why are you being weird?
It doesn't matter. Anyway, moving on. So they go to,
You wouldn't like me if I was normal.
Trust me. So they go to her place, and
Does she have a nice place?
she has a house.
Oh. Cool.
Yeah. And so they bump into the babysitter, and she shows Eric her son asleep in the bed.
What?
And Eric freaks out. Like, you would totally expect him to. And I don't mean because it's justified, I just mean because, like...
He's a dick.
Yeah, of course he's going to.
He's like, are you serious? We've been dating for months, and this is the first time you tell me you have a kid?
That is...
And she's like, you're a bad person. I figured that you would not... that you would have run. And he's like, yeah!
Yes, I would have!
Absolutely! Are you kidding me? And then the kid wakes up because he's yelling at her. She's like, now you gotta get out. And he's like, I can't believe how I felt about you. This is nuts. You're crazy. It's over. Forget it. And he leaves.
Okay.
What a fucking idiot.
And he leaves her in tears.
Yep. She probably should have told him, though.
Yeah.
Months.
Yeah. Listen, both of them are bad people.
Yeah, he
both of them are
probably
bad
shouldn't
people, but
scream
no.
at her.
Right.
That shit is justifiable.
Reaction.
Guess what? I'm dating someone who might be just a liar. I don't know their
Right,
past.
he's a totally bad person.
Well, am I really going to be like, oh, and I have a kid?
Well, but
I'm
then you're
enter
going to
that
get
in there?
upset when the bad person who you know is a bad person, like, is upset with
Yeah.
you for not telling him you had a kid. Like, you knew what was going to happen.
Well, I know.
You knew he was a bad person.
Yeah.
It could be understandable, like, oh, I have a kid. You have a kid? Oh, no kidding. Like, let's talk about that.
Right,
shit.
right.
But that would be what a good person would do.
Or
He's
a
a bad
reasonable
person.
person.
Okay, but he also saved that little girl, so there is
Yeah.
a little good in him.
And I think
Yeah,
also,
but that
like,
didn't cost him anything.
I think she may have also used her powers, and this is just reading the subtext of the story, there's no actual overt reference to it, but maybe she used her powers to go like, there's no way this dude's gonna be cool with me having a kid.
Right. Well, then why did she ever show
Because
her
she
kid?
loves him.
Oh,
She's like, if this is
I see.
gonna work, he's gotta know.
Well,
and
I gotta see what happens.
Yeah,
I
like
gotta
he's
try.
gotta face the music eventually. Yeah. So he puts
so
on
this
his...
ties into the girl being pregnant so that he's, like, okay with kids at some point?
It does tie in, kind of. They're related.
It has to be.
Thematically, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
If they don't tie this in, that is bad writing.
Oh, I know. Kirkman's not a hack. I mean, he is, but like, when he
He's not
tries...
that much of a hack.
Right. But he also knows how to write story. But the son of a bitch knows story structure. So... he does bump into Monstro while he's Ant-Man or slaying Mantis, and Monstro's like, listen, like, here's what happened. And he tells his origin story about, like, what occurred. And what happened was, like, he didn't know his own story. Like, he got these powers by accident, and he freaked out, and his powers, like, caved in a building, and his wife and kid were killed.
Oh.
And he ran away.
That sucks.
Yeah. And he's like, dude, like, I do not blame you, and I will never tell your secret. And he doesn't. I'm not, like, gonna bury the lead.
Mm-hmm.
He's cool.
Okay.
So you're like, that sucks. Like, good for you, man. And all that happens in one night, and the black box at his apartment, like, playing Wii. And he's like, come on, man, you're missing, like, you gotta come over here. And Eric's in his bedroom looking at a picture of the two of them just crying.
Him and his girlfriend.
Yeah, him and his girlfriend. Yeah. Abigail.
Now ex-girlfriend, I guess.
Probably. And you're like, oh. Like, so Eric is developing a conscience.
Yeah.
He feels bad.
Yeah.
Which is more than I could say for most of the time.
Yeah.
He also still works with her.
Right.
So
Yikes.
he'll, like, bump into her, and she's like, so what's going on? Like, you know, he's like, get away from me. Like, I can't believe you. He's just keeping it away, keeping her at arm's length, and sticking with Monstro. Yeah. You know, like, kind of like, dude. And
I'm
finally,
with Monstro now.
Yeah. So finally, like, as they're walking away, as they're making up the bro code, and they're just, like, storming off, she's like, all right, that's enough. Like, I could read your emotions that night. You're in love with me.
Oh.
I know that you care about me.
How dare you read my emotions like that?
He straight up doesn't do that.
What a violation.
Yeah, he's not. He's not like that much of a hypocrite. So he's stunned by this, and then he looks up in the sky and he says, turn around, and it's the Hulk arriving from
shit.
Sakaar, and with the beaten, bloody body of Black Bolt, or Black Bolt the Skrull, and he's, like, giving his declaration, like, evacuate New York, because I'm gonna raze this place to the ground. If you want to know more about what happens in War with Hulk, you can watch our episode. So, everybody has to pull his shit together. Like, Hulk's invading New York, and they're gonna bring the whole damn place to its knees. So, let's go.
All right, damage control. Get ready to clean up a whole lot of rubble.
They're like, we gotta fucking hide.
Well, I mean, you're already at ground zero, so if you guys want to... Oh, you don't want to jump in? Oh, you're running for your lives? Oh, well...
We'll come back when it's done. So Abigail's like, I'm out. My powers? No.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Well,
and
also, if
I could tell the Hulk is really mad.
And I'm leaving. Like,
I can tell the Hulk is really mad. A lot of people are going to die. I don't really want to feel that.
And I also don't want to be one of them. So I'm leaving, and Monster's like, I gotta stay and help. And he's like, Derek, you staying? And he's like, oh yeah, you kidding me? The looting possibilities are endless. And then he looks at him, he's like, I mean, like, I'm kidding, of course. But anyway, let's...
Unless you're totally okay with that, in which case I'm not kidding, and I'm very serious.
Yeah.
But I can see that you're not, and so therefore I am.
Totally kidding. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to saving people.
It's a funny joke I just told.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go do that.
Let's go do whatever you were going to do. You go first.
I'll follow your lead.
So we get this great sequence where Carson's like looking in the mirror at his own face, and he just punches the mirror and like embeds glass in his hand. He's like, son of a bitch.
Now your hand's mangled.
Yeah.
Good job.
He's like, Eric, I'm going to kill you. So while Eric and Monster are out like doing good deeds, the Black Fox breaks into Eric's apartment. He's like, hey, Eric, you home? And then he steals his Wii and leaves.
Yes! Thank you, I was waiting for that.
He does look really remorseful about it.
Yeah.
He's like, this is who I am.
But not only that, but like, he's not home anymore. I want to play Wii.
Yeah.
Just
like Eric has to watch women shower without their permission, the Black Fox has to steal
he can't
things.
help who he is.
No, I think he feels neglected because now Eric has a different friend.
Yeah.
He's like, we used to hang out.
He definitely does look sad. But Monstro and Eric are trying to stop other looters from like ruining the city.
Okay.
And ultimately, the Hulk is smashed through a wall.
Yeah.
And this upends Monstro and Eric's plans. And so Monstro's like, you gotta do what you can, man. And Eric's like, I got this. And so he shrinks down.
I have an idea. Why don't you do what you can?
Right.
Because you're strong.
Not that strong. So he jumps into the Hulk's mouth.
Ah!
So he's like, maybe I can stop him from the inside.
Ew.
So he's in his tummy, and he starts like shooting, because he's also got those like cool like mandibles that shoot like plasma, and also help him fly and jump and stuff.
Okay.
I like that there's just stuff in his stomach.
Yeah, he ate like some
like a shampoo bottle.
Yeah.
A bag of chips.
A bag of chips.
Yeah.
A fork.
Yeah.
Why does Hulk eat garbage?
Maybe he doesn't mean to. You know, he had his mouth open, he was screaming, and he just like
throwing
drove through garbage.
Or maybe like he got thrown through a building, he's yelling when that happens, so it just falls in.
Maybe he ate someone who was holding that stuff.
Right. He doesn't eat people in this universe.
I mean, I was just gonna say, I know he does.
Yeah, but not this one.
And it's horrific.
And it's terrifying.
Yeah. So Eric, he just starts shooting at the Hulk's like his stomach.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do anything.
No.
And he's like
the Hulk.
And he's like, okay, well, that didn't work. So he jumps out the Hulk's nose, and he ends up on the Hulk's like war armor.
Yeah.
As Iron Man's in the huge Hulkbuster armor, and then they get into a big fight, Hulk and Iron Man.
Yeah.
And they bash into Stark Tower, which of course collapses.
Yeah.
And Eric barely manages to escape with his life. Everything's all messed up, and he's just in a complete like state of messed up.
It looks like his suit gets damaged.
It does get a little damaged, but it's not completely beyond disrepair.
Okay.
Or beyond repair.
Yeah.
So he is basically in a state of
he's not in a coma.
He's got a concussion.
Right? Oh, concussion.
So he's clearly concussed.
Yeah.
And he just like passes out in an alley. And when he wakes up, he's in a SHIELD hospital.
That's what you get for trying to help people.
And Carson's like, good news, Eric, you're not dead. Bad news is, you will be. O'Grady, you are so screwed. And he's like, gotta admit, this is pretty awesome, though. I had a good ride. Like, okay, yeah, you got me. But I got to be Ant-Man. I joined the SHIELD Avengers Initiative with, like, a fake costume. I had, like, a girlfriend.
Hey, is Carol here? Call her in. I want her to be part of this.
Oh, Veronica. Oh, get Carol.
I got to see Miss Marvel shower naked.
Yeah.
I had a pretty good run.
Yeah.
Hey, Carol. I know about that birthmark.
She's like, I'll kill him. So then they sedate him, and when he wakes up, he's out of his hospital gown and in a secluded, nefarious room.
Oh.
Strapped to a chair, and Carson's like, hey, this is my little interrogation room.
Yeah,
he's
it's like the boiler room in the helicarrier.
Yeah, and he's like, yo, like, I know the SHIELD helicarrier. I worked here, man. There's no interrogation room. He's like, yeah, no, I made one out of this room that I knew didn't have any security cameras. Here's the little thing that so you probably think that I'm gonna, like, good cop, bad cop you. Or maybe that I'm gonna, like, punch you and get some information, but I don't need any information. See, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a psychopath. I killed my father, who was beating my mom. And I got a taste for killing, and I loved it. So I became a cop and killed people then. And then I joined S.H.I.E.L.D., and I killed people there. I love killing. That's what I do. That's who I am. So I want you to be a little bit more afraid than you seem to be right now. Because when I tell you I'm going to kill you in intimate, terrible, personal ways that are going to make you wish you were dead, and then I'm going to hurt you even more, and then I'm going to kill you.
This is fake, and I'm terrified!
Yeah, and Eric's like, oh. He's like, yeah, now I'm seeing the face that I wanted to see earlier.
And do you shit yourself?
Right.
Because I'm smelling it.
So Eric's like, dude, we were friends. You and me, Chris. He goes, don't bring up your dead friend. We played poker together. That's not the same thing at all, man. He goes, look, like, watch how, and you're such a lightweight, like, watch. Like, they fixed your clavicle, watch this. And he just pushes on it, and he just screams in pain. He's like, that's not even close to the amount of pain you're about to go through. So then, he beats the shit out of him a little bit.
Yeah.
And Eric gets knocked unconscious. When he wakes up, Carson's wearing the Ant-Man suit.
Oh, shit.
It's fixed?
Yeah. It was fine.
Oh, okay.
It just looked a little damaged, but otherwise it was fine. So Carson puts it on and he's like, I'm going to get real tiny and I'm going to ruin every part of you on the inside.
Oh.
So he does. Like he shrinks down and he's beaten and he's tormenting Eric on the inside. While that's happening, Black Fox is on the outside of the helicarrier breaking in.
What? How? Why?
Oh, Black Fox is a master thief.
Yeah.
He does use most of his finances to buy better thieving and infiltration equipment.
But, like...
Because Eric's his friend. And he heard that he got pinched by S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, he did? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's not like, where is Mario Kart? I can't find it anywhere.
I just assumed he was breaking into S.H.I.E.L.'s helicarrier because, like, I guess I'll steal their stuff.
Maybe there's a cool, like, jet fighter I could take and fence nowhere.
Yeah. No, he is going to try and, like, steal a cool, like, helicarrier, like, hovercraft thingy to escape with. But,
Okay.
So...
But he's there to save his friend.
He's there to save Eric.
Okay.
So Carson is, like, he gets big, and he's like, so I got these cool mandibles that make plasma and shoot fire and stuff, so I'm going to burn your face now. Here we go. And then Iron Man shows up and just starts shooting the shit out of Carson. And he's like, no, you don't understand! He has to die! And Iron Man and he get into, like, this big, cool fight, and Iron Man, like, shoots him with a repulsor blast. He hits the ceiling. Iron Man's like, please, buddy. Like, Iron Man beats Ant-Man every time. Anyway, Eric, so... I saved you, but you're still going to jail.
Right.
And Eric goes, but you don't understand, Stark. Here's what really happened.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to weave my amazing
webs.
webs.
I'm in super deep undercover.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, so here's the deal, right? And he's like, so me and Chris, we were supposed to guard the Ant-Man suit when Carson tried to steal it. And then I took it from him because I didn't want it getting into the wrong hands. As you could see, Carson's a psychopath, and he would have used it for bad things. And so I kept it, and I knew because Carson was chasing me that it was his word versus mine. You'd never believe me.
Right. So I just had to hold on to it.
Yes, until we actually were in a position where I could finally reveal, and I was going to drop the lid, or like I was going to blow the lid off the whole thing when I got captured.
Right. And I don't think you understand. You remember, I was there in the Hulk fight.
Yeah.
That's true.
I was trying to help.
Yeah.
I'm a good guy.
And Stark's like, and he goes, you gotta believe me. And then he like leans into him and he has this thought bubble. He goes, if this works. And then the Black Fox shows up and he's like,
oh no.
Your salvation has arrived, my friend!
Jesus.
Don't worry! So Black Fox reveals that he's got guns trained on everybody. He's like, okay! Like, nobody move! Me and Eric O'Grady are getting out of here!
Me and my best friend.
Me and my best friend and crime partner and all these other things.
Yeah. So he says, and he goes, nobody move. I know that I only have these guns, but I do have a very special experimental prototype bomb that's on the hull of the helicarrier, and it will blow unless you let me and Eric walk out of here. And Eric goes, the Black Fox has no access to that kind of tech. He's bluffing.
He just sells out his friend immediately.
He goes, what? He's immediately tackled by S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Because, Eric, you duplicitous son of a bitch. And so Iron Man's like, we're going to check out your story and we'll see what happens.
How does he think he's gonna... The Black Fox is gonna tell them everything?
Yeah, but who's going to take the word of this notorious thief?
Over this rando? I mean, like...
He was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
It's an impossible story. It's a bullshit story.
Yeah, but like, how many impossible
Iron Man
stories?
barely believed it, and now he's got a guy who's gonna explain the whole thing.
Yeah, but he also betrayed him immediately. No one who's actually close to somebody would do that. No one's that much of a
But
shit.
why would Black Fox come to save...
Maybe he wanted to steal some experimental S.H.I.E.L.D. tech.
Then why did he say I'm here to save you? Why did he put himself in harm's way?
Who knows? Who can trust him?
He's
He's
Iron
old.
Man, I'd be like, okay,
No.
clearly this Black Hawk verse is telling the
You're
truth.
all under arrest.
No one's getting out of here without, or no one moves. I'm getting out of here with Eric because I need a hostage.
Right.
See?
So basically we cut to like a few weeks later and Eric's back on guard duty.
Right.
Just watching a monitor.
Just watching a monitor going, and he just looks around and he goes, "Neh."
God damn it.
Then his book got canceled.
Oh.
And so he has like one issue left to wrap up everything.
Okay.
And so he steals another agent's ID card to get into the detention area of the helicarrier.
Uh-huh.
He gets there and he visits the Black Fox and he's like, hey man, what's going on? He's like, you son of a bitch. When I get out of here, and I will, I'm gonna freaking kill you. I can't believe you've ruined everything. And he says like, yeah, like, listen, I know that I really screwed you over, but I couldn't help you in that position. But I can help you in this position. I took a real risk stealing this dude's ID card to get in here in the first place. And he says, like, so he slips Black Fox a piece of paper that has the instructions to the override system of the security.
Okay.
And he's like, I figure you're a genius, like master, locksmith or whatever, you can get out, we're square. And Black Fox says, Eric, I stole your Wii during the Hulk attack. And Eric's like, you stole my Nintendo Wii? He says, I did, and I'm never going to give it back to you. And Eric says, like, well, that's fair. I guess we're even then. I betrayed you and had you arrested by S.H.I.E.L.D. and you took my Wii.
You took my Wii, so...
It's obsolete in a year, but I suppose we're even.
I guess I'll just buy a new one.
Yeah, and then he leaves, and Black Fox goes, that doesn't even remotely cover this. So, meanwhile, Hank Pym is busy running the initiative, and he and Iron Man are talking, and they keep trying to train S.H.I.E.L.D. agents to use the Ant-Man suit they finally recovered.
Okay.
Because they need a new Ant-Man.
Sure.
So, no one is doing a good job. No one has been able to figure out the intricacies of this ridiculous suit. Mm-hmm. And, like, people are almost, like, killing themselves by using this damn thing.
Okay.
And so, Hank's like, I mean, like, the reality is, Stark, the only way to really get anyone who would be worth a damn is if they actually, like, had months and months of training and use of this suit. Mm-hmm. And Iron Man's like,
damn it.
So he calls O'Grady to his office, and Eric's like, okay, I'm done. That's it. I'm screwed. Mm-hmm. And before he leaves, Veronica comes to visit him, and she's like, hey, Eric, what's going on? And he's like, oh, hey, yeah, sorry, we kind of didn't work out, but anyway, I gotta go. And she's like, listen.
You've been on the ship for, like, weeks. I guess
Yeah.
she was just avoiding it for a while.
Yeah. And so she's like, listen, like, I'm pregnant. And he's like, oh. And she's like, yeah, so I'm thinking, like, maybe we can make it work. And he's like, you think we can make it work? And she's like, I mean, I should try. This kid needs to grow up with a father. And he goes, here's
not wrong, dude.
Yeah. And he goes, she's like, so what do you say? And you're like, okay, so we're finally, like, wrapping things up. Yeah. We're bringing it all together. He goes, no. And she slaps him, and she's like, you bastard. Like, what is wrong with you? And he breaks down, and he says, I am a terrible person. You are kind of an okay person. And if I am in this kid's life, he will be a monster. I would be a bad father. I would bail on you. If I was forced to be with you, I'd cheat on you. It would not work. Your best bet is either to, like, give the kid up for adoption or raise him yourself. But the less I have in this kid's life, the better. And she's like, I hate you. Like, I can't believe you would do this. I can't believe you don't even want to be involved in your kid's life. And he's like, it's not that I don't want to. It's that I know that I am not suited for that.
Right.
I would ruin this kid's life.
And I want to less than I know that I can change.
Right. So she leaves, and he's like, wow, and now I'm going to jail. What an awesome day. So then Stark's like, okay, so come with me. And they go into the training room, and he puts Eric in the suit, and he's like, all right, fight these robots. And we just saw, like, a dude almost get, like, fried alive in his Ant-Man suit, and Eric's, like, flipping around and doing his thing. Uh-huh. And he goes, well, you're Ant-Man now.
God.
So Eric becomes Ant-Man officially.
All right.
Eric O'Grady gets to register with the Superhuman Registration Act. He gets an identity card. Eric O'Grady, Ant-Man.
No! It should be like, well, you're gonna train the next Ant-Man.
Right, exactly. No, so then he uses his Ant-Man powers to go to Abigail's house, and she's like, I could feel you're here, Eric. And so he gets big, and he's like, hey. And she's like, oh my god, like, you're alive. I thought you were dead. And he's like, no, I'm fine. And hey, it all worked out. And so here's the thing, like, you and me had something really special, and I want you to know that, like, you really, really, really mean a lot to me. And, like, you were right about how I felt. And she's like, what do you mean had something special? And he's like, I have to go. Like, I actually do have to go. They're taking me places. Like, I have to go to be Ant-Man.
Taking me away.
Yeah, like, I have to go be Ant-Man and, like, be a superhero. And I don't really know what the future holds, but I do really care about you. And I want you to know that, like, maybe I can be a better person, but I need to find out for myself. So I'm going to go and I'm going to be Ant-Man and I'm going to see what's going to come of it. But, like, maybe one day I'll come back, and who knows? And so he leaves. And then the Absorbing Man is attacking the city, and Spider-Man swings into action, and he goes, oh, he's got that. And then he leaves. But that's the end of the Irredeemable Ant-Man. So if you want this, it'll be in the description box below this video, so you can click the link and get it. But of course, I also recommend that you watch the first episode of the Irredeemable Ant-Man to get the whole Eric O'Grady story.
Yeah.
It all wraps up in a neat little package!
Kind of.
He's a creep.
He's total creep.
He is a creep.
But he's a
People
creep
could change,
and a liar
Ben.
and a bad person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in the first volume, it's straight up like he is unremorseful. In this
Yeah.
one, he at least wants to be better.
He has a
Yeah.
little bit of remorse for the woman that he loved.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
it.
Well, he's able to love someone. I mean, that's
amazing.
someone who's not himself.
And he makes friends.
Yeah,
And he
that's right,
forms
he's a
real
real friend.
relationships with Monstro and Black Fox.
Yeah.
And he actually tries to help both of them.
I see progress.
Yeah.
You know, he's still a real bad person.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of this book, but like, there's a path where you could see maybe
He could be better.
given a
he
lot
could
of
be
time
redeemable.
and,
And work,
and maturation and
Yeah.
hard work,
which he's completely
which
averse
he has
to.
no interest in doing.
Yep.
He could become a tolerable person.
Right.
I am
Who
happier.
begrudgingly is good.
I am happier with him dying because then there's the tragedy of like, maybe he could have changed. And
Yeah.
that sucks.
He probably wouldn't have, but maybe he could
Right,
have.
the
We'll
people
never
who
know.
love him can idealize him. Anyway, Irredeemable Ant-Man, so check out Ant-Man in theaters now, I guess. I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man
Yes.
and the Wasp, not just Ant-Man.
No, you're right. Good point.
Good point.
Good point. But no, yeah. I love that we don't do any
Maybe
other
we'll get
Ant-Man.
Eric O'Grady on the couch.
What the heck? What? Apparently Eric O'Grady died over 5 years ago. What the heck will get him anyway? Anyway. So happy 4th of July, and of course enjoy Ant-Man and the Wasp, unless you're watching this a year later, in which case, I hope the movie turned out good. Yeah, catch it on demand.
Blu-ray, yeah.
And also happy 4th of July again, because it's a year later.
That's right. And we'll see you guys next time with another episode of Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
Thanks for watching.